Service.
The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Virginia's 4th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Chairman Latta and Ranking Member Castor, for holding this very important hearing today. We all agree we must strengthen the security and reliability of our electric grid to ensure that it can weather a growing number of challenges and threats that can impact its operation and inflict devastating harm on the American people and the American economy. And that's why I've frankly been alarmed by many of the actions that the Trump administration has taken to undermine our grid security, sabotage clean and renewable energy sources that would have increased energy capacity and reliability, and coddle outdated technologies whose persistence as part of our energy strategy creates more opportunities for risk. And as we see demand increase, energy prices have surged, rising 13% in 2025. So I'm very concerned not only that we get grid reliability right, but that we are managing our demand so that we can meet it affordably. So, Mr. Fitzsimmons, you told Representative Castor, Ranking Member Castor, that you believed that PJM faces a potential energy shortage. Yes or no? Do you agree that efforts to mitigate the impact of data centers will have on regional and local grids will also help mitigate a potential energy shortage?
I think that's a question of supply and demand, and that is what the resource adequacy challenge boils down to. Supply and demand.
So yes, you would agree that if we can help mitigate the impact data centers have on the grid, that will help to reduce an energy shortage. That's a good thing.
Yeah, as I said, anything we can do on the load side as
Thank
well
you.
as the generation side to balance supply and demand in the energy system is a good thing.
Thank you, I agree with that. So you have overseen the cancellation of hundreds of previously awarded grants under the Inflation Reduction Act and the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. One of those cancellations was in Virginia, the cancellation of an over $233 million in grants that focused on everything from energy efficiency to grid reliability. And one of those grants was an $85.4 million grant awarded to the Virginia Department of Energy to study ways grid-enhanced technology could be used to reduce the impacts of data centers on local and regional grids. Virginia is the data capital center of the globe and growing. So you can imagine how critically important it is to manage exploding energy demand resulting from the growth of data centers, which will only get worse as AI use continues to grow. And as you have heard, one of this committee's priorities is to make sure that the United States wins the AI race with China. That means more and more demand is going to be put on the grid, and we have to take efforts to mitigate it. And so I'm very concerned by those actions of the administration. Now, do you, Mr. Fitzsimmons, yes or no, do you agree that improved grid flexibility and efficiency will help mitigate energy demand?
Yes, it can under the right circumstances.
Okay, your office has also canceled a Virginia grant to develop and deploy a pioneering set of sensors and other devices to monitor and control grid transmission and distribution. This technology would have increased grid flexibility, allowing for utilities to improve efficiency and mitigate the effects of localized outages. This is exactly the sort of technology that witnesses in prior hearings have told this committee that would be necessary to improve the overall security and resiliency and reliability of our grids. So I'm concerned about that cancellation. Mr. Fitzsimmons, witnesses in prior hearings have also told this committee that the hodgepodge of old, outdated technologies and modern cyber tools that comprise our grid create gaps that contribute to vulnerabilities in the grid security. Do you agree with that?
Can you ask that question again, just the end part?
Do you agree that the hodgepodge of old, outdated technologies and modern cyber tools that comprise our grid creates gaps that contribute to vulnerabilities to the grid security, as other witnesses have told this committee?
Yes, I
or
think
no?
it's important that we
Thank
invest
you.
in
I'm claiming
upgrading
my time
energy
because I only have
infrastructure.
30 seconds. Thank you for that. So I also just want to say that you have played a role in the recent reorganization of the Department of Energy that has led to 3,500 experienced career staffers departing the agency. And given the increasing complexity of the threats, especially cybersecurity threats that face our grid, this does not make sense. It doesn't make sense to pile an expanding and increasingly complicated and sensitive workload onto a shrinking and ever more stressed out workforce. With that, I yield back.